Radio.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter show, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. Happy Memorial Day to everybody. Happy Memorial Day weekend, I guess, because it's not Memorial Day yet. My name is Eric Lorta. I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and the King of the North, Joe Habib. And we have a great show for you today. And if you want to call and ask questions, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857. We'll be here till about 9 o'clock tonight. And today, we're going to talk about Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz. That takes place next week. Beeb, are you excited about that fight?
I actually am.
Go. You didn't sound excited though, but I'll take it for what I'll take it.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to
It's all good.
I'm looking forward to the American debut of Anthony Joshua.
There you go. You're Britain's adopted son. I thought you'd be more excited.
Good luck, Anthony.
And also too, could Gary Russell be going to DAZN? We'll have all the details. But first, I would like to introduce from ESPN, boxing royalty, Steve Kim. Steve Kim, you're live.
Gentlemen, good Saturday, good Memorial Day weekend to you guys. How you doing?
Good, man. Good. How are you today?
Now, we're doing well.
Good. So let me start with this, man. Let's talk a little boxing here. Devin Haney last night had a really good outing against Antonio Moran. Knocked him out in the 7th. When I watch Devin Haney, he looks like something special. He passes that eye test. He reminds me of watching like a Roy Jones Jr. the first time you saw him, or like a Floyd Mayweather the first time you saw him. Does he do that for you? Is he the real deal?
I don't think there's any doubt. I've said that 2 or 3 of the blue chippers in boxing, young kids that have not yet fought for a title under the age of 21 that I would invest in. Obviously, Teofimo Lopez has topped of the list for a while, but I have to tell you, I think Teofimo has to make room for also Virgil Ortiz. Guys have really stood out to me. It's true. Stateside prospect. The pugilistic prodigy. And I thought for the first time last night that Haney gave you that wow factor. We know he can box. We know he's very effective. I've thought for a while he'll win titles at 35, 40, maybe 47 and beyond. He has that type of skill. But in terms of leading a statement where you go ask yourself again, because I want to see that, he really did that yesterday, and I've said this for a while.
Yes.
When you grade kids who are, let's say, 17 to about 22, 23, you have to kind of forecast what's their physical strength going to be. When is their man strength going to kick in? When can they be really able to push people quickly? And it seems to me, guys, it's all come together for Devin Haney.
Yeah, he looks unbelievable, man. He really does. Now, Top Rank just signed Roxy Ramirez. What are your thoughts on this guy? This is the guy that beat Shakur Stevenson in the Olympics.
Well, what they're doing, I think there's 2 things here to look at. Number one, Roxy Ramirez obviously talented. When you win the type of amateur tournament that he did and you're able to capture a gold medal or 2, you certainly have a base of talent. But this is what Top Rank really is good, is that they believe that this kid has some talent, but they understand one thing. In this divided sport, where you essentially have 3 major platforms in the U.S., and you know what they are, we've talked about them in the past, not only do you have to have commodities within certain weight divisions, then you have to be able to sign up opponents. So at the very least, if Shakur Stevenson fights for a title within due time, I know he wants to be on the fast track, and then you start thinking to yourself, okay, if he has a belt, what do you do with him to really create any type of interest in his title run? You're going to need dance partners. And with Ramirez, there's a natural storyline like there is with Michael Conlon and that Russian guy he's going to be facing during the summer. So I think it's kind of two-pronged. It is about adding more talent to the table, but also giving Shakur Stevenson some opportunity to really be involved in fights that we will care about. Talking to Ryan Scalia, who I believe is the foremost expert on amateur boxing, he believes that Ramirez has a lot of talent, very offensive style. This cannot be Guillermo Rigondeaux. I don't think he comes with the same set of headaches from a managerial or promotional standpoint the way many other seasons have had. But Ryan did note that discipline and focus could be an issue. And I've said that for years about these talented students that make you move over to the pros when they defect to our great country is can they handle two things, freedom and capitalism? Oftentimes they can't.
Hey, Steve, can you do me a favor? Can I call you right back? It seems like we have a lot of static on the line, and I'm not sure if that's our end or your end, but let me call you right back, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to say if we can try to pick up Steve Kim here. Let's see here.
Thank you guys for the super chats.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joel O. and who else?
Notorious VC.
Thank you guys so much. Wow.
He wants me to do a beating the odds of Beeb on a fight that's going to be one-sided and it's going to be an easy decision victory. But I don't know. I'll try it.
Which one?
The Wong. What's the guy's name? The TBE guy.
Wong Heng.
Wong Heng. I've never even seen the guy fight.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the guy fight?
Wong Heng. Yeah, he's TBE, son.
When did you see him fight?
I've seen him fight a lot. He's TBE. He's got 52 fights.
Never seen him fight. Stop lying.
I have.
Hello?
Steve, it's Eric. How are you? From Ringside
Reporter.
Okay.
Good.
Much better. Much better. I'm
Much
sorry.
much better.
Okay. So let me ask you about another guy. We were just talking about this as we were calling you back. Wanheng Menayothin, the guy we call TBE around here. He's 52-0, going for his 53rd win, I believe, on the 31st. So have you seen this guy in action? Is he pretty good? I mean, is he really that good?
I've seen clips. I mean, look, and he's from Thailand, right? I mean, the Thai fighters are very busy. If you ever look at their box rec, a lot of these guys will win a title and have like 4 6-round fights in like 3 months. It's pretty amazing. It's kind of like back to the old things. I don't know what then 51-0 became like this, demarcation point of greatness. It's funny. We're trying to get Buddy McGill into my own podcast. I didn't realize he had a draw in his first fight. So literally, guys like him and Bernard Hopkins were never eligible for the TBE debate right after their pro debuts based on their results. And I guess either it was Juan Manuel Marquez or was it Rafael Marquez. That's always been interesting. The one thing about the fighters from Asia, a lot of the times they're kind of hidden in the Far East, and a lot of times they don't come over all that often. And the smaller weight classes are never really given probably the respect that they should for various reasons. But, Mayothin's one of those guys, it makes for great Twitter fodder because when you mention that if he goes to a certain plateau in his career being undefeated, there's always those people that take those jokes a little bit too seriously and just absolutely have to defend Floyd Mayweather as if it's their mother. I've always found that pretty interesting.
Right. Yeah, it's funny to see this guy 52-0 and going for 53, and it was just kind of a joke we made on this show because, that was, Floyd Mayweather says, well, I'm 50-0, I'm the greatest ever, I'm TBE or whatever. Well, great, now this guy's 52-0, so now it makes him TBE.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? I think a lot of that had to do maybe with Marciano being 49-0, and then he retired. People forget, I think Julio Cesar Chavez was 80-something-0 before his draw with Pernell Whitaker. And I remember that was in 93. So as he's racking up these notable defenses, beating Roger Mayweather, the great fight with Meldrick Taylor, then a little bit before that, dismantling Edwin Rosario in his career best performance, I don't recall as a kid all that many people saying this is the greatest fighter ever. And he was like 30 fights beyond 50-0. So I've always found that to be interesting how somehow Floyd, through his rhetoric, and has been very good at it, has kind of forced that issue of if you get to 50-0, you're automatically in the TBE discussion.
Well, I will say this. I will say Floyd Mayweather was a lot better than Julio Cesar Chavez at promoting himself. So as far as self-promotion goes and promotion itself, I mean, he was a ton better. Could you imagine if Chavez had the same hype behind him when he was 80-0? You know,
Yeah,
crazy.
It is interesting though because with Chavez, I do remember during that run that he was big though. Look, I grew up in Montebello High School. That's where I went to school. I still have an office here, and he is like the Mexican Babe Ruth. Whether he really is the greatest Mexican fighter or not, I really don't know. You can make an argument, for Salvador Sanchez and Ruben Olivares, Baby Armendariz from way back. But he is that seminal figure. I do recall it was the night before the second Super Bowl, the rematch between the Bills and the Cowboys. It had to be January of 1994 when he lost to Frankie Randall. I was with a group of people. They were watching it in Montebello. And when Frankie Randall popped him with that little right hand that sent him on the seat of his pants, I mean, I still remember the way people reacted. And when Frankie Randall got that very close split decision, I mean, it was depressing. I mean, people were literally stunned. It was like a member of the family dying. So, Chavez, to me, he'll always represent something. And I've joked in the past that a lot of Mexican families, they basically have three pictures in their house, the Virgin Mary, Vicente Fernandez, and Julio Cesar Chavez.
Exactly, man. Yeah, exactly. I tell you, it just took my breath away, that first fight with Frankie Randall when he dropped him. I think it was and it might have been, it was late in the fight. I think it was around the 10th round or something like that. I can't remember exactly. But when he dropped him and he went down, he just squared himself up and got popped. It just took my breath away. It was like I was a big Chavez guy back in the day. So, yeah, that was tough to watch. For sure. I think that how close do you think Canelo is to Chavez in terms of popularity, in terms of being the guy? Obviously, he's the guy now, but how close is he in terms of popularity? Is he? My father, he watches the Mexican stations like the novellas and the news and everything like that, and Canelo is all over those stations constantly. He's on like the Entertainment Tonights of those stations and everything like that. He's constantly on those shows. How popular is he? I mean, will he surpass Chavez in terms of popularity?
Well, look, I think the big difference is, and again, Montebello is in East LA, so, basically there's a lot of Mexican Americans. The difference that I see, and Oscar De La Hoya went through this a lot, when it came to Chavez, whether you were a Mexican national or a Mexican living in the United States as an American citizen, you loved Chavez. Canelo and De La Hoya, it's a little bit different. Oscar was considered a show. I mean, he represented the United States. A lot of people considered him a white Mexican. And when it comes to Canelo, he has a very unique look. There's still a lot of derision as it relates to Canelo from a lot of people on both sides. I've been told that there's a lot of Mexicans living in the south of the border that don't really like him. That for some reason he hasn't resonated. Maybe that has changed in the wake of the victory over Golovkin. And then when it comes to, let's say, American stateside Canelo fans or boxing fans, they're not all in on Canelo. I think he has a rabid fan base. The difference is when it comes to Chavez, I believe that he was universally beloved, if not worshipped.
Yeah.
Canelo is hugely popular, but that doesn't mean that it's unanimous, that emotion that he elicits. And I still think, and look, I run into a lot of Mexican people that still think he's 0-2 against Golovkin, or at the very least, 1-1. And I don't think that the tainted meat situation last year helped him. And, I've always felt Canelo is very much this polarizing figure, given the fact some people have him pound for pound number one, which I don't agree with. And then other people think he lost at least 3, if not 4 fights, which I don't agree with either. Sometimes probably the truth is somewhere in the middle. But, if you take a look at the scope of his overall popularity, I think there's 2 brands that really stick out. I think it's Canelo and the guy fighting at Madison Square Garden this Saturday, Anthony Joshua.
let's talk about Anthony Joshua for a second since you brought him up here. He's got Andy Ruiz coming up Saturday. Andy Ruiz, of course, is a substitute for Big Baby Miller, who was tested positive for about 50 or 60 PEDs. Let me ask you, is this a better fight than the Miller fight, or it's about even, or what are your thoughts on this?
I don't think it's any worse, but I do think it's better. I believe, and I think I need to walk it back a little, but I said on Twitter that Andy Ruiz's resume is much better than Miller. It's better. I don't know if I'd say much. Maybe I was prisoner of the moment there, as I just finished up my Andy Ruiz piece for ESPN. But, look, Andy Ruiz may have beaten Joseph Parker for the title back in December of 2016, fell a little short in Australia. Never been the most motivated guy. Certainly doesn't look the part, but look, he's got fast hands. He's very fluid. He's a natural fighter. I think what helps him out in this situation, he fought on April 20th, took about a week off, and he's in relatively good shape. And again, I said relative. Okay, he's definitely going to lose the weigh-in aesthetically to Anthony Joshua. So you look at Jarrell Miller. Look, I know Jarrell Miller very well, and I don't know if you know the complete history of it, but back about 4 or 5 years ago, I did a couple of shows for Greg Cohen Promotions when they were developing Big Baby. And Greg Cohen is the co-promoter alongside Dimitri Salita. Greg Cohen back then had a deal with CBS Sports Network that was used as a developmental series for the likes of Rob Brandt, who now has a WBA regular middleweight title, and Jarrell Miller. So that series was successful. But what I'll never forget is, for 3-4 fights, every time we see Jarrell Miller, who I kind of liked from the beginning, he would always get heavier. And I still remember thinking, when I first saw him, he was at like 275. I said, wow, if he gets to 260, we might really have something here. In the next fight, he'd show up at 285. And I said, okay, well, maybe just go back down to 270. Then eventually he's weighing in at like 310. But the thing was, he kept his engine. Like, he was able to throw punches. He never really got tired. He was able to sustain a certain work rate. And I'm like, wow, okay, maybe this works for him. And it turns out, may have had a little help throughout the process. So, because you're right. I mean, I always thought it was interesting because I do follow him on Instagram. I see him on Twitter. The last 3-4 years, a lot of his videos that he would post up were of like powerlifting, cleans, stuff that a football player would do. I thought it was very interesting. And then I saw a picture of his strength and conditioning team, and I said, yeah. As I said on one of my shows, he was more juiced up than Minute Maid.
Let me ask you, and Greg Cohen used to promote him.
Still does. Still does.
Yeah, I guess he'd have to. Where do you go with this guy from here? Because he's suspended from the WBA for 6 months. Apparently, there was some loophole with the New York State Athletic Commission about how he didn't renew his license, blah, blah, blah. But listen, man, does this guy ever get back to where he was as a promoter?
Because you know why? Because this game is very forgiving. We don't have a lot of heavyweights, and we have very low standards. Personally, I said this on the record. If I was in charge, if I was Commissioner Kim, and I know a lot of people are saying lifetime ban. I think the problem is you set a very harsh precedent and a slippery slope. Yeah. And again, but I don't even disagree with those who say he should never be able to fight again. I could see why. Because like you said, Eric, he had more drugs in him than a CVS pharmacy. That's unprecedented levels of stuff that he had inside his system. So, but again, I don't believe that everyone should be treated the same, because if you pop for a bad substance or a supplement that you bought at GNC, I don't think it's the same as what Jarrell Miller did. So I think we better be very careful in terms of just cookie-cuttering the discipline, if you will. But if I was in charge, okay, I would have suspended him for at least 2 years, and I would have said, for the rest of your career, you are going to pay for your own 365 a day, 24/7 random drug testing. And you will have to show during that time when you're suspended and beyond, if you should fight again, that you are clean, that we can literally test you on New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve or Easter Day. Boxing being the way it is, unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen. That the suspension, I believe, is even backlogged to mid-March when the original test was. And I hate to say it, he's going to be back. And I think within due time, because of his colorful personality, and like I said, the dearth of quality big men, he'll get a shot. It just may not be against Anthony Joshua,
Right.
but I believe someone will line him up.
Wow. I mean, as a promoter, do you sink money into this guy? I mean, how tough is it as a promoter now, knowing what happened, to sink money into this guy and have him? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's because
Well, here's the
depend
thing.
on him showing up fight night.
No, I don't disagree, but look, I don't want to come off as someone who is absolving him. But if he goes through the protocols, and I believe the WBA has said you have to enroll in the year-round VADA testing protocol, which again is the organization that caught him, and then he's come clean. Look, in real life, in society, there are a lot of people that commit heinous crimes who get paroled. We may not like it, but we have to live with it. And if someone's willing to give them a chance, they do have an opportunity to function in real life. So, again, if there's a promoter out there or some entities that say, hey, we need a dance partner, we need someone that's colorful, that can fight a little bit, and let's say he does put on some fights. Let's say he comes off the suspension, as unpopular as he is, and he's certainly right now a pariah. Let's just call that for what it is. But next 3-4 fights, puts on good effort, comes out clean, and is shown to be someone who is rehabilitated, for lack of a better word. I hate to tell you, look, I don't see boxing as a morality play. Many people would like to think it is, but it's anything but. And it is my view that when he comes off suspension, if he passes the requirements set forth by the WBA, he'll be back in the mix, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, that's true. Now, you spent a lot of time with Andy Ruiz in camp. You've done a story on him for ESPN. What chance do you give him to beat Anthony Joshua, or just to kind of go the distance with Anthony Joshua?
Well, I don't know if he goes the distance, but I think, hey, look, there's 3 really good heavyweights, so we know who they are. And I've asked myself, who's number 4? Number 4, based on resume, would probably be Dillian White and or Louis Ortiz. That's probably your top 5. So if you go to the back half of the top 5, I think Andy Ruiz is as good as anyone. Let's face it, this is not 1975. Ron Lyle, Ernie Shavers, Jimmy Young, they ain't walking through that door.
Yeah.
Okay? And the bottom line is Louis Ortiz was never going to be allowed by the people Heyman to take Anthony Joshua. He wasn't. Neither was Adam Konaki. Okay, they were being lined up for Wilder for the next, I would say, 8 to 12 months. So Andy Ruiz campaigned for this, wanted to fight. He had just come off a pretty solid effort on Fox, so there was some familiarity with him. He's Mexican-American, so that might help on the West Coast in terms of marketing this event. He speaks English very well. So look, do I think he has some tools? Yes. I'm just telling you, he's got very fast hands. He's very fluid. The question is, can he slip the jab? And then once he slips the jab, are his feet quick enough to get him inside the pocket where I think there are certain areas in the fight where they're chest to chest that Andy has the advantage because he's a little bit smoother of a puncher. But again, can he get past that big telephone pole jab? That's the whole question. But look, there's not a lot to choose from. We're on a limited time frame. I remember, guys, that the Jarrell Miller situation popped off right during the Crawford Khan fight. That's the week of April 20th. I think based on today's standards and the fact you had about 5-6 weeks to really go from April 20th to June 1st, I think Andy Ruiz, based on these circumstances, is a pretty good replacement.
All right, yeah. Yeah, he's not bad. Not bad. I just don't know how much of a chance I give him against Joshua, man, who I think is probably one of the best in the division, if not the guy. And so that fight with Wilder isn't happening anytime soon. Wilder's got Ortiz coming up next, followed by Konoski, I think, coming up after that. I heard a rumor. I don't know how strong a rumor this is that Wilder is going to fight Ortiz next, and it may be on pay-per-view. Have you heard this?
Yeah, no, I have. And here's my question to Louis Ortiz. Are you getting $7 million guaranteed for that Wilder fight? I mean, because that's what he was going to be guaranteed by Eddie Hearn, right?
You know what? You know what's funny about that is that, and we said the same thing. is like he's getting $7 million. Why would he turn that down and say it was not a lot of money and not enough money and this and that? Then I saw him at the Wilder fight backstage, and he looked like Santa Claus. I mean, there was no way he would have been ready.
Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah, right? there would have been no way.
So that's my point. See, that's the thing that gets me about all these people that want to play managers, right? Some of these people, you know which group of fans I'm talking about? It's all about that money, right? Because obviously they're getting a cut as fans, right? All right. So let me get this straight. If it's all about that money, because a lot of times that's their defense for good fights not happening, as they pom-pom wave for certain advisors and promoters, you know what? No argument. It's a bottom-line business. It's all about making as much money as you can. Got it. So why is Louis Ortiz being dissuaded from a $6 to $7 million guarantee? And the question is he getting guaranteed that much for Deontay Wilder? Someone please let me know.
Right. Now, this is another rumor. There's another rumor, like a loose rumor, and I can't really verify it anywhere, but it's kind of got legs, in the past week or so. The PBC is for sale, or may be for sale?
They're inquiring. I've heard about this for a while. I actually brought it up probably first on the 3 Knockdown rule about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That Ari Emanuel and the Endeavor Corporation, a conglomerate, they're looking. And the question that I keep hearing from people in the know is, one of the bigger holdups is, what exactly is the PBC? We know the PBC has deals with Fox and Showtime. So they have a lot of television dates. They have 2 very bankable commodities in Deontay Wilder and I would say Errol Spence. The other question is, with their large roster of fighters that we've seen on that umbrella for about, 4 or 5 years, how many are actually under contract? See, that's the other thing. So if you buy the PBC as a package, are you sure you're getting everybody? And so that's why, and this is what I've been told for a while, don't expect PBC/Al Heyman to make any of these fights that we want, like Crawford, Spence, or Wilder, Joshua, on the other side of the street or reaching out across the aisle, because they can't afford those guys to lose. That in terms of keeping the value of that commodity, which looks like might be for sale, and I'm hearing that there's a lot of smoke to that fire, or a lot of fire to that smoke, that they can't risk it. They told me that a couple days ago, and that's soundbite our show this upcoming week.
Wow. Beeb, go ahead.
Yeah, Steve, piggybacking off that, what about the rumors about the Zone being up for sale? Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, well, that's real quick. The Zone is still having issues gaining traction in the United States, and I love the Zone. I like the schedule they're putting out. I like the programming. I ate the card last night for the most part. I don't know if their subscription numbers are really. According to Eddie Hearn, he says that whole report is rubbish. What else is Eddie Hearn going to say at this point? They have 2 years to make this go. Okay, so and what are we, about 8-9 months into this? They announced the formation of the whole last May. I remember it was the Friday afternoon before the Lomachenko with Jorge Linares. And that's some rooftop. And they came out and told everyone, we have $1 billion, this, and that, and tried to sign 5. Obviously, they've done a nice job of fortifying. The thing is, subscribers. Now, I don't see what they need to reach. I've heard several. I think the Canelo fight against Jacobs very well for them. I think a key component of them gaining more traction is Gennady Golovkin, Canelo take place. Because, look, you could start a multi there, but nobody invests into anything or becomes a millionaire or a very, very wealthy man by losing money time and time again. And you look at some of the numbers that they're paying or have heard about what they're paying some of these fighters, it doesn't really add up. It really doesn't. But we are in a world where you have 3 competing factions. Everyone, this is an arms race. And I think to a certain degree, everyone is trying to outlast one another and hoping that at least someone else folds their tent so
more fights that could be made, more fighters that could be signed under their platform. It's a very interesting time. I don't know how true that the Zone report is. I haven't heard one way or the other. I think that report came from a message board, didn't it?
I just heard it. I think it was actually an article about it too. The guy.
There was an article. I saw that one, but there's also another guy that came out. I think one of the Reddit boards with a lot of information.
Could have been a Reddit post. Yeah.
So again, a lot of the times these guys are right on, and a lot of the times the guys are trolling. So I mean, I couldn't tell you either way. But I do think the Zone is a good product. But the problem that they have is as good a roster as they have. If you look at it, when you go to a hotel or a bar, the one thing that's always on the TV or where you always look for it on your television, ESPN. Right? That's generally the way I do it. Fox, Showtime, those are very ubiquitous networks that we all kind of watch throughout the years. But for a lot of people who don't have the smart television set up yet, they don't have the Fire Stick yet, that's probably about 10 years before everyone really gets used to doing that. People really have the Zone.
Yeah, that's true. Well, they're basically set up like the old PBC model as being a loss leader. But the one thing the PBC was able to do was restructure and change things up a bit because they didn't have these guys signed to the long-term deal, so they could adjust the pay. Will the Zone have to restructure, and will they even be able to because they have these guys tied up the way they do?
Well,
go ahead.
They have them tied up, but the one thing I'm hearing, though, a lot of these deals outside of Canelo, which is like a 10-fight deal, which was reported, I heard these deals are 4 to 6 fights. Okay. So that shows me that if everyone is 4 to 6 fights, and we know how much these guys fight per year, they're not making a 5-year commitment here. This seems to be like they're giving themselves 2 to 2.5 years to make this go, or they're just going to say, yeah, we tried.
Yeah.
But I think another component of the Zone that I've heard about is that I think they have a Major League Baseball whip-around show. They got to get, for their own health, they got to get one of the other major sports, whether it's the NBA, the National Football League. It can't be just boxing and Bellator and international soccer. For them, a part of their overall strategy, in my view, is waiting for one of these contracts to come up with these other networks, whether it's the NFL, Major League Baseball, or the NBA, and then to acquire that deal for whatever price they have to, and then that might gain them traction. So that's another thing. When you're talking about Fox, they have football, college football, Major League Baseball, ESPN has a whole menagerie of sports. The Zone, again, if you attract boxing fans, that's great, but we have to be honest. In America, boxing is very much a niche sport. So it's why, in my view, it's very hard to actually gain a real a foothold on the overall general audience in our country if boxing's going to be the main driver of subscription on a consistent basis.
So do you see them raising subscription prices again? Do you see them even charging more money for certain premium fights? Do you think these are things that could possibly happen down the road with the Zone?
I got to ask, but here's the thing. I think the prices is fine. I know that they did that thing where you bundle it up for the whole year, you get a much better price. That was all about retention, of making sure that people stick. And by the way, I'll say it, I think it's a great deal. If you're a boxing fan and you don't have it, or ESPN Plus, because you don't want to fork over $15 a month, either you're not really that much of a boxing fan or you're cheap and you shouldn't admit it. That's embarrassing. Yeah. Honestly, $15. Most people spend that for a week's worth of coffee. I mean, it's one thing not to be able to afford a BMW or whatever, but if you really can't afford $15 and that's holding you back from being a boxing fan, you're not the type of boxing fan I'd want to converse with. I think it's a great deal. I really do. Whether they do pay-per-view or not, here's the problem. After all you have said and marketed, and your tagline is, "We've killed you, it's a new ball game," and you go right back to pay-per-view, that's a tough thing to walk back.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing, in fact.
Yeah. I got one last one for you. I want to talk about the commentary that's been going on a lot recently with some of these fights, particularly the Danny Jacobs Canelo fight.
Oh, that was awful.
The way they were commentating that fight is if Danny Jacobs was getting whitewashed, and the fight was competitive. I thought Canelo possibly could have edged it. I mean, he won the fight, no question, but the way they were presenting it, they were just going so hard for the house fighter. And not only that, even in the Tony Harris and Jamel Charlo fight, I thought that fight was competitive too. And the way commentators were really getting behind Charlo. You think these guys are going a little overboard for the house fighter, and do you think it's actually affecting the product, and you think it could maybe turn fans away because the commentary has been so bad lately?
Well, let's make this clear. I thought Jacobs clearly beat. I thought Canelo clearly beat Jacobs.
Yeah.
I think Jacobs does a great job of conning people into thinking, I'm trying to win. I'm going to fall behind a lot and make a little bit of a late run. And he does what I call the backdoor cover. Scores a couple of late touchdowns to make the game seem closer than it is. I thought it was 8-4, 9-3. Danny Jacobs, like he did with Golovkin, circle the ring, get hit with a lot of jabs. Every once in a while, flurry at the end, then pound his chest and scream because that's swagger, right? That's what the kids call it. And why do you get points for that? Why? I thought he lost 8-9 rounds. I did not understand. And I went back and I watched the replay. Brian Kenny was getting killed. I thought Kenny called a pretty good fight. Do I think he meant tad overboard? Yeah. I mean, you're always going to be accused of doing that. I don't think Danny Jacobs made any argument of winning that fight. I'm sorry. Some think he beat Golovkin. I'm like, you get your head chopped off with jabs. That's the fight where I realized Golovkin can't win with people. That first of all, he can't box. Then when he boxes, he loses. Then he has really become the master of giving the impression he's trying to win. If I last the distance, there's enough people willing to be conned that'll say, yeah, that was close. The fight wasn't that close. It wasn't. And in fact, every time they exchanged, the large part of the exchanges, I thought were won by Canelo. I thought after 8 rounds, that fight could have been 7-1. And then Danny may have won, I think, the 10th, and he might have won the 12th. And I'm thinking to myself, he won the fight. Like, I was there, on press row. All of us were saying this was kind of a routine fight here. And I'll go on the record now. I thought he beat him pretty easy. In fact, I interviewed him, and he hated the fact he had a real problem with me not only thinking Charlo won, but I stated it on Twitter, as if somehow I'm not supposed to state my opinion on Twitter, which is kind of odd. Did the announcers go overboard on that end? You could accuse them of that, but then I'd also argue Lennox Lewis and Joe Goosen, who I believe were on that call. I mean, is Charlo some sort of, version of Canelo? He's not a pay-per-view draw. He's a big, franchise. What's there really to protect? I mean, I just think Joe Goosen and Lennox just kind of saw a fight that they saw fight. And do I think they're handed scripts like, hey, guys, this is the PBC house guy. Let's make sure we pump. I don't think that really happened. I believe that, in their honest opinion, Canelo won the fight. And by the way, Ray Boom Boom Mancini, who I've done different shows with when I was at UCN Live, I consider to be one of the very bright, sharp minds and a very honest guy beyond all that. He said, Steve, he said a couple of weeks ago at this press conference, no offense to Tony Harrison, thought he got pushed back the whole night. I mean, look, everyone misses Jim Lampley now, right? Like, we need Jim Lampley back on the broadcast. I think he's the greatest who ever did it. But prior to HBO leaving boxing, what did I hear for 20 years? Jim Lampley's a corporate chill agenda house guy. So you can't win. I mean, look, I've done small shows that 50 people have watched, and then I get accused of it. And I'm like, I want to scream out, hey, guys, you really think I care either way about who wins this 6-round fight in Stockton? Really? Sometimes you just see a fight, and you just call it that way. That's simple. But do I think that, do I believe that purposeful, biased announcing, if it exists, and it probably has in the past, affects the product? Yes. Do I think it has a chance to turn off fans? Yes. Do I think it's harmful for the sport? Yes. But I don't know if it happens as much as people think. Because if you actually take a poll and you ask people, and I'm not the Gallup poll here, but I did this on Twitter. Almost everybody thought Canelo won, and the closest people had it was 7-5. Other people had it 9-3. So the judges were actually, kind of in line, a little bit more generous to Jacob. Then when it comes to Charlo Harrison, I would say the majority of people believe Charlo won the fight. So, I mean, again, I would say maybe the announcers called the fight that actually happened, and maybe we just didn't agree with the way they did it. It's a tough one. It really is.
It's a fair point.
Hey, Steve, why don't you do me a favor? Tell Beeb how great Ray Mancini is. Because Beeb said that Mancini, he's got a bone to pick with Mancini over the job he did. Listen, Mancini's from Ohio, Titletown. Tell him, Steve, Mancini's good.
I like Mancini. Look, the thing I like about Ray, and I don't know if him being the ringside color guy is really his role. I believe he should be like the Charles Barkley, the guy that kind of watches the games in the studio, and he gives opinions, and he can opine. It is a totally different job. I've always said, because I've done various roles. I've done the blow-by-blow. I've been the color guy. I've been like the guy that you throw up to the studio every 3-4 rounds. And all the jobs are different. And certain guys are suited for certain roles. I believe Joe Goosen is very good. I think he's going to continue to grow. I think he's the strongest point of that Fox on PBC broadcast team. I think they need to have some continuity in terms of who the blow-by-blow guy is. I think they're switching guys, which I don't think helps the chemistry. Look, I like Lennox Lewis. However, he's done this before. He needs to be better prepared. That's the bottom line. To me, I'm like, Lennox, are you even looking at your notes? And I don't want to be overly critical, and I'm very well aware of the fact he could kick my ass. But if you guys want some honest opinions, I'll give them to you. He doesn't seem to me like he's well prepared.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was the problem with Ray Leonard, who I love as a human being, one of the greatest fighters ever, but Ray would not give an opinion. Got to give an opinion, especially if you're Ray Leonard. There's not a lot of guys that were better than you at this, and in that job, you have to be willing to be critical, and you better be analytical. And if you're funny, that's a bonus. But Lennox, to me, does not bring much. Now, Ray, I love Ray, and again, I'm probably biased based on my history with him, but I believe that when Ray plays that studio role, where if someone could be as Kenny Smith and someone else could be as Ernie Johnson, that's where I think he would really thrive for the most part. And I think the PBC needs to pare down the number of fighters that they have doing their color commentary, because a lot of these guys, quite frankly, they're not good at it.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right, Steve, I know you were a busy guy, and I'm going to let you go, and you can enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Thank you so much for dropping by today.
Oh, absolutely, guys. We'll do this again, and there's a lot to talk about next week of Anthony Joshua, and it's going to be real interesting to see what people say when Anthony Joshua sells out the Madison Square Garden. Wonder what certain people are going to say then, Anyway, guys, great having chopping up with you guys. We'll do it again soon.
All right, man.
Thanks,
when is your show, the 3 knockdown rule? When is that on with?
Well, it really depends. Well, this week, obviously, Monday's out, Memorial Day. I believe we're trying to get Tuesday or Wednesday. Look, guys, the way this works is every Sunday I have to email Mario and his executive producer of his radio show, his other one, On with Mario, Tim Frazier. Tim basically knows the schedule. Mario's days from Monday even through Saturday are basically all scheduled out. The guy is the busiest man in all of showbiz. And so basically, I have to email saying, okay, guys, time can Mario fit in? And sometimes it's Monday, sometimes it's Wednesday, sometimes it's Thursday, sometimes we won't have time this week. That's basically the way it works. And so we're going through the process. Now, we generally try to have the show before a Wednesday and get plenty of time to talk about the next fight. And look, you guys are doing a show. It's a great time slot because the fights are still very fresh, and you have a whole week to kind of digest what's going to happen in front of us. And then the other thing is, if we have an in-studio guest, we're going to do 2 different shows based on the schedule. So it really for the 3 knockdown rule, but generally we try to do once a week at some point.
Awesome. Good deal. Well, we'll definitely look for that, man, and we're definitely going to do this again, man. We appreciate your time. Thank you so much, man. ESPN.
Absolutely, guys. Have a great night.
All
Thank
right,
you, Steve.
Man, thank you.
Appreciate it, guys.
Steve Kim. Perfect, man. Perfect. How about that? So, Beeb, you got some crow to eat, don't you? Huh? Ray Mancini, Titletown's own, baby. Steve Kim said he's the sharpest tool on the shelf, Daddy.
Oh,
you know where Ray Mancini's from?
Oh, no.
Titletown, son. That's where he's from. And Robert,
you're
not getting off scot-free either. Robert's not getting. Did Robert drop?
You can D-ride. You can D-ride all your Ohio homies you want, man. But
how dare
but the fact remains, Ray Mancini. What do you? Let's talk about Ray Mancini since we're on the topic. You want to talk about Ray Mancini? Ray, what does this guy need to do to win? Oh, he just needs to move forward and throw punches. It's that simple.
Well, for Mancini, it is. He's a former champion.
It's that simple. So anyone can just get in the ring. I can get in the ring tomorrow. You can get in the ring tomorrow. We can just walk forward and throw punches, and that's it. Has nothing to do with the other guy in front of us is doing to prevent us from throwing punches and moving forward. He's dumbing down the sport for people who don't really understand it. He's oversimplifying it, and then you have to always make it out to be, oh well, this guy's taking the other guy's will. This other guy's he's losing heart. He's wilting under the pressure. He's folding. It's this whole bullshit about boxing being 90% mental and 10% physical. That's another one of the old stupid cliches that someone came up with. You know what boxing is? It's 90% skill. Sometimes the other guy's just better than you. Okay? Wally Omatoso last night, at no point in that fight did he want to quit. Did he look discouraged? Did he look like he was mentally checked out of that fight? He was just in there with someone who was better than him. Ray, what does he need to do to win? Oh, he just needs to move forward and throw punches. Ray, it's not that easy when you got a guy who's not allowing you to do that. A guy that every time you try to throw a punch, he's not there. So look at Ray Mancini's fight against Hector Camacho. Was he moving forward and throwing punches? No. You know why? Because he couldn't. No, bullshit. How old was Camacho when he fought him? They were the same fucking age.
Camacho was like 22 when he fought him.
Bullshit.
Mancini was like 83 years old.
Bullshit. Now back to
no, that's not
he
true,
was in
Eric.
a knee brace for that fight. They wheeled him in.
Yeah, okay. Back to reality now. So if it was that easy, Ray, when you fought Hector Camacho, when you fought Alexis Arguello, you would have just walked forward and threw punches too. But guess what? You couldn't do that. You know why? It's like a sniper. Okay? A sniper can hit a guy from 1,000 yards away. Why? Because the guy's not moving. Ask that guy who's shooting from 100 yards away to hit a moving target. It's not that easy. And then when you're moving forward and someone's sticking you with a jab all night, and he's not allowing you to throw punches. So to sit there and I'm so sick of all these people who want to be fucking psychiatrists. Oh, he's taking his soul. He's taking his will. No, the other guy's just better. It's that fucking simple. I'm so sick and tired of hearing this bullshit. Oh, well, he's got to behave like a fighter. Oh, he's got to have more heart than that. Oh, he's got to dig down deep. He can't be discouraged. The movie Rocky was an iconic movie. And it influenced a lot of people, right? But you know what the problem with that movie Rocky is? It put a lot of false hope in people. People who think, oh, if I believe in myself, I can do anything. Oh, it put this false sense of belief that just because a guy has will, that he can overcome skill. And that is not what happens in the real world. I can believe all I want that I can climb Mount Everest. But guess what? I can't fucking do it. I can believe all I want that I could run a 40 in 3.8 seconds. But guess what? It's never going to happen. So at the end of the day, these guys are trying to sell us a Rocky movie that just doesn't exist. It's fantasy. So at the end of the day, if the other guy's better, he's just better, and that's it. It's not about the other guy just walking forward and throwing punches. It's an insult to boxing fans to think that it's that simplistic, that anyone can just get in the ring, walk forward, move forward, throw punches, and he's going to win. No, that doesn't happen. And I love that Tony Harrison checked Ray Mancini, and even friggin' Chris Myers did the same thing. It's like, Ray, you fought like that too, but you got hit a lot, didn't you, Ray? So, and then Tony Harrison said the same thing that I just said. Well, Ray, did you ever think that maybe he's trying to throw punches and the guy's just not there? Maybe the guy's just better. Oh, well, he's getting mentally defeated. He looks discouraged in there. He looks frustrated. He looks like he's wilting. It's not a fucking psychiatry class. The guy was fucking better. Okay, that's just it. And I'm sick of it. Ray, what does he need to do? What does he need to do? Every situation. Oh, he needs to just walk forward and throw punches. What kind of fucking analysis is that? Like, it's that easy. How does he have to throw punches? What does he have to do? How does he have to set the punches up? Where does he need to position himself? How does he cut the ring off? Maybe he should throw a feint. Maybe he should throw the jab off speed and stop being so predictable. That's how you fucking break down and analyze the situation. Instead of, he just needs to be more aggressive, walk forward and throw punches. No, please. I'm sorry. And you know what's funny, too? No disrespect to Ray Mancini. I have nothing against him personally.
You just disrespected him.
No, I'm not. I'm telling the fucking truth. I'm giving my honest opinion of his analysis. He's dumbing down and oversimplifying the sport. But you got a guy like Ray Mancini and Arturo Gatti who made the Hall of Fame. Both good fighters, both world champions. But because they were the Rockies of their era, and because they fought the way they fought, did they get in because of skill, or did they get in because of how they fought and how they entertained the crowd? So if you're an exciting fighter, do you get elected into the Hall of Fame because you're exciting, because you're a brawler, or do you get in there because you're a skilled fighter? What's the criteria? Could we argue that there are a lot of guys out there that are probably better fighters than Arturo Gatti and Ray Mancini that didn't get in the Hall of Fame? Could we argue that there's some of them out there? Could we argue
Arturo Gatti definitely.
Oh,
Ray
yeah.
Mancini,
Oh, yes.
not so much.
Yeah.
Why? Ray Mancini was a good defensive fighter. He was a slick boxer. He was a brawler.
World champion.
He was a brawler, Eric.
He's a multiple-time world champion.
Okay, name some great fighters he beat.
You can name me some great fighters he was in with.
And he lost.
Dooku Kim. That was a good fighter.
Eric, all right, come on. Thank you.
Eric, that's a low blow. He killed the man. What are you trying to say?
Dooku Kim was a good fighter. That's what I'm trying to say.
Thank you for clarifying my point. So, it is what it is.
You know what?
I
wonder if. Go ahead, Rob.
Am I wrong, Eric?
No, you're not wrong.
Am I wrong?
Point is, and you know what? My point is, I'm wondering if, and I defend Ray Mancini because he's from Ohio, of course. But my point is,